don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more.
2019 Mountain Dew GSL Super Tournament, Season 1.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the GSL Super Tournament Day 3. We are now at the halfway point here in what has been, I think, the most lopsided tournament we have casted
in a very long time.
I think almost ever, right? I guess at some point in time in year 1 or year 2, we didn't have 7 out of 8 Terrans in a GSL Codes, did we?
No, I think
we had something close to that.
6 or 7, and it was like in the round of 16, it was 1 Protoss and like 2 Zergs or something like that.
That.
It was crazy once upon a time, but this is pretty wild.
This is unusual, especially considering the results that we ended up getting in our recent season of Codes. It was a lot more evened out. So we have 1 Terran player remaining. It's GuMiho. There are no more Zergs. The rest are Protosses, so we're going to have a Protoss in the finals no matter what. This gives a little underdog for us to root for here, as far as the race goes. By the way, before we forget...
which race is the underdog? Because the last time I checked, Terran won like every GSL Codes for like 100 years.
It's the Protosses.
So...
It's all these Protosses against us.
Yeah, no, they're the underdog, right? Even though we get one in the finals automatically.
We have a little event going on. If you come down to our studio, we are giving away free Mountain Dew and food. I believe it's going to be burgers. That's what it says down there. I don't know where the burgers are going to be from, but they're going to be delicious. So you get to watch StarCraft 2, have a free meal, have a soda. What are you doing? Get down here tomorrow and watch the GSL Super Tournament Finals.
Yeah, it's definitely something you're going to want to do, especially if Stats beats GuMiho, because then it becomes the most insane night of possibly 21 of the same matchup in a row. How crazy would that be? My God.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing our results here today. So we're going to start this out with our champion, the hero of the Super Tournament, the only Terran left, GuMiho. But he's going against possibly the best of the 7 Protosses we have. It's going to be Stats.
Yeah, I think that this is actually probably the best match here the worst match, I guess is what I'm trying to say, for GuMiho. Stats, you got to be able to play a late game against him to beat him, I think.
And Stats is a player that really tends to last a long time. He usually just defends whatever the initial strategy or tactics are, and then comes in and closes out with a lead.
Yeah, and if GuMiho gets aggressive, which he sometimes does in this matchup, is he going to be able to break through and do damage to Stats? Probably not. I feel like you got to play a longer game. Maybe with mech, maybe not with mech. You know, we did see that crazy series. But, you know, the thing is, I feel like I know what to expect from Stats. He'll mix it up a little bit and play overall somewhat defensively. I just wonder what we're going to see from GuMiho, because if Maru was doing mech against Protoss, you feel like GuMiho should be able to, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, in an odd way, Stats has a funny little edge here going forward in the tournament, assuming that he wins, because he's not going to be showing any PvP here in the second to last day. Everybody else has to get some of their PvP out of the way. And here is GuMiho, the only Terran. All the Zergs are already dead. Zerg is extinct here in the Super Tournament. And the human race is looking very futile right now.
Yeah.
We never have it turn out like this. In fact, fortunately, we almost always end up with all 3 races in the final 4 of a GSL
I don't know how that happens. Even statistically, that shouldn't happen.
I know. It's very convenient for us when we get to talk about balance. But this time around, Anybody who ever wanted to complain, this is the tournament you need to cling to now. Dig your nails in now, because
that's for sure.
You don't get more evidence on your whiny side than this tournament here. So let's see what happens. GuMiho, definitely a player I think he can beat Stats, but you got to say, you know, with the success that Stats has already had, and you know he's overall just so consistent. I'd say a little bit more consistent than GuMiho.
Yeah, totally.
Although GuMiho has had a pretty
GuMiho has very steadily been a top 4 or 5 Terran for a very long time now. Really, he's been right up there. So good on him, and he's had good results, and I think he played really, really well overall this season. I think he was an underrated player who went out early compared to how good he was, but he was in a ridiculous group, if you recall. That, like, TY Sue Rogue group. That's a stupid group. That group shouldn't happen.
That group was wrong.
So that's not even GuMiho's fault. That's not even GuMiho's fault.
All right, guys. Game 1's ready. Let's go.
Game start. Splice. Stats.
You're going to be seeing this a lot today. Nexus with probes at it.
Yeah.
Psystorm Gaming. GuMiho.
Right.
Okay, so one thing about GuMiho is he's got his own brand of Terran. If you go back and listen to our cast, it's not often or maybe even ever that we say, you know, this other Terran player plays a lot like GuMiho. All right, some support for humans from Canada. Thank you for coming down, gentlemen. Enjoy the games.
Looks like we're going to have a proxy gate coming out of stats to start right off the bat.
All right. Immediately, the human race is going to get screwed over in a not straight-up game. That's what I'm talking about. That's how the Protosses got this far, okay? They didn't play by the rules.
It's kind of.
There was no Geneva Convention, okay, for this matchup.
No.
When Protosses came. They played down and dirty. They don't make their buildings inside their base.
But he's hit his barracks on the side there, so Stat's going to have to take a look. He might be getting a little heart palpitation, thinking that he gets a free win. There we go.
Yeah.
Sees what is up, but when will GuMiho know what is occurring?
Stats, by the way, before this game really picks up, I want to point out Stats would have been the player like Rogue or like Serral or like Mara we would be constantly highlighting. It's just that he got to enough moments in the finals and then didn't win, but he's not known for always getting second place either. You know, he's had successes like at IM Katowice and other tournaments as well, but this guy has been so close to being the greatest several times, and here he is once again. A high chance he could get to the finals here. That's why it's tough here for GuMiho that he's going up against a Protoss player who's been so successful, who's been so dominant.
You know, you say he's not known for getting second places, but I think that'll actually change. If you actually count up his second places, it's right up there with Sue's.
It is. It's a lot.
It actually is.
It's just not, I think, in the same.
It's just
the atmosphere was different when Sue kept getting second, you know?
Yes, absolutely. And it was like all GSL, or truthfully, it wasn't all GSLs, but, you know, the thing is, the same thing has basically happened with Stats over and over. So we'll see if that continues. Now, the bunker being built instantly to cancel on that CC, all good stuff. GuMiho reacting very, very quickly. But, of course, this makes the Nexus quicker than GuMiho's expansion. And the tech that GuMiho's going for here, it looks like a Widow Mine coming out and a Starport coming up. All that's just like, it's not one base timing. It's two base timing with one base.
Yes. GuMiho's playstyle is very, very... GuMiho's playstyle is very unique. And it's going to require a few adjustments here from Stats overall in this best of 5 to come out on top here. He definitely has popularized Cyclone Aggression a lot. We've been in different iterations here, Legacy of the Void, but we've seen him come out. He likes to sometimes go mech in a very mobile approach.
Yeah, he hasn't done mech against Protoss in quite some time. And when he did do it, it was a weird like mech bio hybrid-ish build, and he just insta-died when he got attacked. To be honest, his setup wasn't that good defensively, but that was quite a bit ago. So I don't know if we're ever going to see him go for anything.
But to where I was going
like
with that is that he's always had an unusual approach to each of the matchups. That is, like I was saying earlier, nobody says, well, this guy plays like GuMiho.
Yeah.
He's definitely got his own view on Terran as a race on each of these matchups and how everything operates. And I'm curious how he's going to approach this with Stats, because Stats, like we were saying earlier, he kind of just holds off whatever's coming.
Yeah.
He usually doesn't have a strategy that's going to activate right away and try to do a lot of damage or win the game immediately. He's usually just teching up pretty steadily and keeping spotters on the map so that he kind of sees what's coming.
Well, right there, we just saw Stats go out and catch the Reaper, which means he's not necessarily ready for this Widow Mine drop. We'll see if he actually reacts. Okay, he sees it. Very, very important, of course. Trying to get this Widow Mine on top of some probes. Good splitting from Stats, but decent lost mining time at least.
Okay, now beginning to chase away this medevac here. We'll have a boost again soon. And it looks like that's going to be the end here of the Widow Mine drop, at least for now. Now, we've seen, particularly with Maru, but if Maru's doing it, then it means it's a concept that can be applied in other situations as well. Multiple Widow Mine drops not doing a ton of damage, and then later on, you know, sometimes the third or even the fourth drop is the one that actually kills the workers. And even though in theory we would assume that if you do a drop and it doesn't do that much damage, you're inherently behind, it doesn't seem to be as much the case now in modern TVP.
Yeah, well, for Maru, it certainly is not, right? I wonder if with the lesser Terrans, which would be every other Terran on Earth, that is going to continually be the case. Now, look at this. Stats coming in with really quite a group of units here. This is kind of scary.
Okay, he's going to come in here. He gets a pickup there on that tank.
Yeah, another pickup there as well. We do see GuMiho targeting down some on these Phoenixes.
Oh my God, that tank is still alive.
What?
Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay.
Well, I guess he kills all the Phoenixes.
If Stat still wins with this fight, then this was GuMiho definitely going in the wrong direction in this game here. He took like 3 more tank volleys than he needed to back there. A little bit of a miscalculation in the fray of the fight.
Yeah. Still does some damage there. 9 SCBs lost, and you're still not able to mine from your natural. That's what we call painful. I'm getting a little bit nervous here for GuMiho in this game.
Well, the fact that, I mean, that was a very straightforward attack there, right? The Phoenix just picks the tank up, disabling it from firing, and then Stats spills in with Stalkers, and you know, there's no medevac, there's no stim, and Stalkers are actually pretty okay against that. In moments like this. Now you see with Stim it could be a different story because he can't really kite that well with these Stalkers, but yeah, I mean the fact that he got in there and did that damage is kind of crazy. And unfortunately we don't have any recall coming up here, so this is just going to be a lot of Stalkers killed, and I think this game is going to seesaw back into the advantage here of the Terran. In fact, I could even see a push coming in here and maybe closing this game out. I mean, that's a lot of Stalkers that were killed off. Stats really overstaying his welcome there.
He could be in a lot of trouble here. It's not like he has all his gateways finished. He doesn't have any Twilight upgrades yet. He has no actual upgrades as well. This is a pretty weak army against what GuMiho has. He scans, sees what's there, decides to turn around for the time being. But he's been producing heavily units, so I think he's going to come right back out. Like, he's going to kill this. Okay, this makes sense, right? You don't want for counter-harassment to occur while you're attacking. But I think he has to go across the map and attack. He didn't make a third command center, which is, by the way, probably what you're supposed to do against Phoenixes, considering Maru does it every time he sees Phoenixes. He's like, oh, insta-third CC. But yeah, it's... okay, here we go. Okay,
the
so SCVs are coming.
It's now or never. Terran has pulled the SCVs. He wants to try to end this game immediately. With this many Stim Marines, it's hard to utilize the Phoenixes at all, really. I mean, they're not able to pick anything up without being gunned down. We haven't really gotten a shot of what's actually on the ground back at home for Stats, but I have to imagine it's an inferior number of units, right?
Absolutely, it is. Charge is going to finish soon, though, which is going to be helpful. But this looks like GuMiho can win this. As long as those SCVs block reasonably well, there's no splash damage or anything. Stats pulling his probes out. Some lifts come in.
He is getting the pickup on that tank, at least for a half second there, but you can see there's so many Stim Marines down here that eventually everything for Protoss is going to vaporize. The tanks are going to land on the ground, and that should be game GG. GuMiho takes game 1, a win for the human race, Sartosis.
Yeah, very, very good looking there. I liked what he did, right? So a lot of times when you see Phoenixes in general, what you're going to end up doing is going for the very quick third CC, but this was proxy gate into that, right? There was a lot of units produced by Stats to push through and get that initial damage in. And so when you're producing a bunch of units in the early game, your mid game is going to be a little bit weaker because you're not like jumping your economy way up and adding a bunch of gates so that your macro flows through. And GuMiho was just consistently producing 5 Marines at a time, got his medevacs out, got his tanks out, and was able to punish Stats for all that early damage Stats did. That was really well done.
So a little bit of a flawed execution there by Stats. I don't think that's going to be indicative of what we'll see in the rest of these games, but Stats not quite on his game. That should have done way more damage in that initial attack. Game 2 is already ready.
Start.
We are just barely through today. I still haven't quite gotten the hang of how little time we have to talk in between the games.
Splice. Stats. Storm Gaming. GuMiho.
Just very well done by GuMiho there. Gives me a lot of hope. We can see a Terran go to the round of 4 and maybe further.
We'll see what happens, Artosis. I want to point out that, you know, for all you guys that are just rooting for a Terran to get through because there's just one left in the brackets, I personally just want a Protoss to get through, all right? I want this to just be mere matchups, okay? I'm sick of casting Terran versus Protoss. PvP I can't get enough of.
Well, I wish that we would just have like like one of the GSL seasons like only let players play Protoss.
That's what I'm talking about.
You know? Just like 32 players in GSL.
Yeah. House of Mirrors here.
See just how random the proxy locations can get after that many PvPs.
It's a dice roll in competition at that point in time.
Yeah. It's very
the
similar
best
to
of
rock, paper,
sevens
scissors.
are decided on roulette wheels at that point in time. So I don't think we're going to have another timing attack from GuMiho unless maybe Stats make some kind of big glaring error where it really incentivizes GuMiho to try to do that.
Yeah.
Stats probably pretty annoyed that game 1 went the way it went because that was not a intellectual error by Stats. That was an executional one.
You think it was executional?
That initial attack was, yeah. And then the fact that he stayed there, I think miffed from that point on with the Stalkers out there, let those all get gunned down.
Well, yeah, they did get gunned down. I think he was trying to kite on the way back and pick off what he could.
Yeah, but once he had stem, you can't kite that anymore.
I think the initial push in, yeah, he barely didn't kill the siege tank. That's certainly true, but like it killed 9 SCVs. It delayed the landing of the CC for quite a bit. I think it was still like okay, but I think strategically what GuMiho did afterwards was very interesting as well. I think it's part Stats, part GuMiho for that. It's, you know, you always got to take into consideration, right? Like, if you want to make a bunch of units early on, you definitely can mess up Terran a little bit. But then your mid-game, right, is where it gets a little bit scary. You know, you're taking your third a little bit late, your gates are a little bit late, your upgrades are a little bit late. And suddenly, Terran got stim. Uh-oh, they have +1. Uh-oh, what do you have? Nothing? Just gateway units?
You better respect that and stay home.
Yeah.
The Robo's about to finish up. Now in the last game, it was Stalker Phoenix right off the bat. This time Protoss is teching up in a different direction. We have the 2 additional gateways coming down and observers coming out in what appears to be probably one of the most passive openers that Protoss can have. It's one where you're going to try to monitor the movement of the Terran, and then you're trying to basically come in there and stop what they're doing, whether that's like a medevac drop or some kind of little push into the front. And this is a good example of overall how Stats likes to play and tends to yield a lot of the success we've seen from him already, as he just kind of stays ahead. You know, he knows it's a game of incomplete information, and when you're going for drops or going for aggression, you're usually sacrificing intel and scouting on some level. And he just says, okay, I'm going to stay back and play a safe, conservative game, and from there, if I stop what you're doing, I'll continue to just get more and more and more ahead.
Well, this is the safest way that you can even play this matchup, other than having some sort of SimCity at your natural, which this is kind of a weird map for that anyways, right? Because, you know, Hellions. But, yeah, it's so unbelievably safe. Observer into Colossus and a Forge. He's got 3 gates, so it's like you can't really kill him. But GuMiho's doing some smart stuff here as well. He's getting that Raven out, right? And that's a great way to try to disable a Colossus. But on this map, I don't know if you're going to be able to really nail him on a timing push on his third, even with a Raven.
Yeah, I don't think so. The Raven, by the way, is multifunctional. And we see it a lot more in this type of meta right now in TVP. For one, he actually beat me to it. For one, you could get rid of the Observer, which is always handy because Protoss's especially when they're doing a build like this, are reliant on Robotech, and they only have one Robo. So getting rid of the Observer then negates the intel, which is what we were talking about earlier, was kind of the theme of what the opening was here for stats. But also the Raven can disable something like a Colossus. It can disable a War Prism, for instance. Yeah. And you know, with Banshees and Siege Tanks and Stim, that is so much damage coming out so quickly that if you can nullify or eliminate one of the units that are key in the fight from doing something, a lot of times in that little window of time when it's disabled, you can come in there and do so much damage. It's crazy.
Guess what, Tasteless?
What?
Guess.
What?
Why am I smiling at you so hard?
What? No, what? I was looking at you. What?
Well, I wanted you to guess from that. 2 armories just went down.
Oh!
3rd CC, 2 armories.
Wow. He's going to go for
and
mech.
He's getting
He's going to go for
speed.
mech.
My God.
But upgrading air at the same time, so he's going to basically have a really static defensive mech with a lot of air harass.
Seems that way. Well, you know, the Banshee, I like that ad because that's definitely something Maru didn't do. Guys, this is a different mech build than what we saw from Maru.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know if he actually saw that armory or not. But this Banshee actually doing pretty well at the moment. God, I'm in such a good mood right now, Tasteless. This is so fantastic. We're seeing a completely different Terran player play a completely different mech style.
And, you know, even though I think the larger theme in this tournament has been Protoss domination, one side story has been Terrans meching a lot against Protoss in this kind of new and novel style. And, I mean, it hasn't had that much success since we only have one Terran left in the tournament. But he's still leaning on it. He's still going in this direction. Let's see if it works.
Well, Maru went 2-1 with mech against stats, right? So that definitely gives me hope. He lost the match, but you know, only 3 of the games were mech, and that had a winning record. And they were macro games. And the thing is, GuMiho here looks like he's completely setting up for a macro game. You don't start 2 armories to end the game early. If you get 2 upgrading facilities, it means you're going for at least 2-2 before a real attack. It's like, otherwise it wouldn't make sense. It costs too much for that armor upgrade unless you're going for the later game. So, very excited to see what happens, but don't forget, Stats has a lot of practice versus mech this week.
Yeah, I wonder if, you know, at the end of the day, we can chalk up, assuming the Terrans don't move on, not saying that's going to happen, but I mean, we only got 1 left. If some of this was because of the mech, whether this is not refined and mapped out enough, or it's just an inferior approach to play against some of these top-tier Protosses, I'm curious.
Yeah.
War Prism speed's about to finish up here. We have 1 War Prism. Looks like it's headed northbound here. Probably going to try to loop in to that 3rd base. Keep in mind on this map, all 3 of your bases you get at the start are pretty tightly squished togetally.
Yeah.
So you usually don't get a lot of harassment off on those bases unless they're attacking into you. I guess that's what we're going to have here. GuMiho's moving out. But if they're staying back at home, usually there's not any harass that's going to do any real damage here.
Yeah, not much at all. Like, that's part of the reason why we always see long games here. It's just, the 3rd base is so defendable. All right, so drops 1 Adept off, insta-pull there by GuMiho. The rest of the Adepts going to the main base. GuMiho has his army out on the map, and again, it's a very different mech army than what we saw from Maru. Lots of Siege Tanks in there. He has those Speed Banshees as well. Like, the Raven is so key to this. Like, Stats' army, if you don't hit disables on it, will destroy what GuMiho's moved out with.
A scan here. Let's see if the Raven's in the right position here. Now he's going to get the siege mode up in range of the Nexus before the fight could start. Here come those Colossi now. 1 disable, 2.
Oh, I think he actually misclicked there and maybe disabled the same Colossus twice or something. I thought I saw 3 shoot out. Oh my God. Oh my God. The Speed Banshees come in after all the Stalkers get destroyed.
They're completely isolated.
Oh
Stats
my God.
just bungled this so badly.
This is so sick.
Oh my God.
Speed Banshee Siege Tank.
How funny is this? I like the cloak over the Raven there.
Oh my God.
So much damage here. You know, a lot of times you would expect Stalkers to be able to beat Banshees, but not in a moment like this. And GuMiho's going to be reinforcing here. The army right now for GuMiho, vastly superior 61-18 supply.
This is crazy. Stats getting wrecked by mech once again. GuMiho's taking a 4th base during all this. He's starting his +2. His Banshee's flying around, going to find some more kills.
If he wants, we can try to even target down a Nexus here. 3 Banshees can kill him building off really fast. Instead, he's going to go for probes. Probably a safer bet here. Wow. Oh, no, he needs to move those.
Oops.
Yeah, a little bit of miscontrol there, but I mean, overall, GuMiho clearly with the lead. He's taking a 4th base now. We don't have Stats reclaiming his just yet, but when you look at the army here for GuMiho, I mean, how on earth is Stats going to stop that?
Yeah, it's a very good question. He's going to sit here with, like, does he have upgrades like +1 only maybe, or maybe he has 1/1, but we don't see like a long game plan here for Stats at the moment. He's getting charge, making a few units here and there, flying around with the Speed Prism. I love the Banshees following it as if they could really chase it away. It's like, don't drop, we'll kill the stuff in you.
Okay. Stalkers are coming forward here. And, I mean, I don't really know what you can do here. You know, sometimes people want a Cassid game to be like, well, here's what this guy needs to do to come back. And in a moment like this, I look at this and I say, I don't really know what you can do, you know?
Well, he's going into Disruptor, so I think that makes a lot of sense. The Speed Banshees are making it so he has to make a lot of Stalkers in this game. So going to continue on with the Stalkers. The Disruptors, once they're out, can help against this kind of battle mech comp that's behind. Because it's just, this is too much damage output, too many units for Stats to fight with Stalkers.
Yeah, I think this should be the killing blow here, right? I mean, there's so many Hellions here, and when he's turning into Hellbats, kind of got them in the morphing phase here. But this is so much to destroy all these Zealots, and now it's just these Stalkers here. There's one Immortal, maybe a good Disruptor shot, maybe.
That was a very good Disruptor shot. He might end up clearing this army with his next
you know what?
Warpin,
This is pretty incredible. That was about as good as it could have gone there for the Protoss. Looks like the last Immortal is going to take out the last of the tanks.
This was a very tough hold, and I don't know if he can continue. Look at this. Oh my god, everything else coming up here as well. Like, he needs to just continue the warp in here, hopefully get another good Disruptor shot off as well, but he's not doing anything to get towards the end game. He's just surviving right now.
I can't believe he held that off. I mean, despite an inordinately big Terran army getting shut down by a pretty crafty Protoss, it's still a way bigger Terran compared to the Protoss as the dust settles here. So, I mean, I guess the question now is, can Stats keep doing this over and over again? Another attack is going to be inbound. But Stats has evened up bases now. It's 4 base. I'm sorry, actually, it's not even. I just realized GuMiho took the top center. He's now expanded to the 12 o'clock.
Wow,
so GuMiho actually has a lead in that sense, too. So, yeah, let's see if Stats can take a fifth of his own and try to balance this out.
Well, it's so funny just watching the production tabs and looking at what they both have at the moment. It's like GuMiho has more upgrades, more SCVs, more army, more tech. He's really, it's just everything, whereas Stats is just trying to rebuild his probes at the moment. What is Stats supposed to do to come back here? This is so ridiculous.
Okay. Even more damage coming down here now, and it looks like Stats decides to go ahead and tap out.
Yeah.
He was already so in the hole in that game. And I got to say, I'm very, very pleased. I'm very excited to see that GuMiho is now up 2-0. I think getting one more win, even against Stats, that's a very real possibility, especially the way that these games have gone.
Yeah, no, totally. GuMiho is playing amazingly so far and playing completely different in these two games. Stats right now maybe being thrown for a loop.
You know, Stats is not having an easy time with his army control. In that game, the Colossi came from behind. There was nothing to defend when those Banshees came in, murdering the Colossi. Same with game one. He got the pickup on the tank, didn't kill it, took some more damage. We're seeing an idea present itself over and over here of Stats a little bit off on the control, a little bit off on the engages. We're now loading up and going into game 3 on Kairos Junction. Stats needs to win 3 games in a row. Otherwise, GuMiho moves on to the Final Four.
Game start. Splice. Stats. Storm Gaming. GuMiho.
Ace Gumi God with his own version of mech. That is so awesome, because, you know, if you just bust out exactly what Maro did, it's like, okay, cool, there's like this mech thing that you can do. But 2 completely different styles of mech coming out in the same tournament?
From Japan and France. Thank you guys for coming down. I want to see stats go down, Artosis. This is a cool story we've got.
This tournament is no longer about 7 Protoss players in the round of 8.
That's right.
It's trying to see if Protoss has a chance against Mech.
That's
I
right.
don't think they do.
This is a real B-grade sci-fi movie, right? Where, you know, one bastion of hope with the human race is fighting off all odds against the mindless, evil Protoss players.
It's Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah. At the GuMiho StarCraft League.
GuMiho StarCraft League.
All these other best of 5s we have, these guys are just extras. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're just...
They got their phase
That's
cannons.
filler. That's
Yeah.
filler right now, okay?
You know, I didn't realize at the beginning of the movie that GuMiho was going to be the one to live to the end, but I should have seen it. My God.
Yeah.
Can't watch Super Tournament again, though, because I already know how it ends.
I know. I see it all so clearly now. Okay. As we continue on in this game, one thing we're really watching for is there going to be another mech opening here? Again, it's been a big idea that's presented itself on the Terran side of things against Protoss, where we're seeing this kind of novel approach here. Morrow doing it, but GuMiho as well. And, you know, if it beats Stats, it can beat anybody, because Stats is the guy that's supposed to just scout out what you do, react to it, stop it, and then,
Yeah.
you know, get ahead. So.
Well, you know what's really funny about it, though? Like, I think at the same time, Stats is the perfect guy to do it against, because Mech is generally a little bit more fragile early on. You're trying to go Mech against someone like Parting or SOS. They might just do some sort of all-in that kills you, and you're like, oh, I don't have the exact counter to this all-in with this mech build yet, you know?
Yeah.
That could be a possibility.
They might
there.
even be doing an all-in that's not to go against a mech build, but it still works anyway.
Like they just kill you with a Glaives all-in or something.
Right,
You're like,
yeah.
Oh.
You're like, okay.
Adepts can't even kill mech units, but you had a lot of those before I was ready. Okay.
yeah.
So, you know, that's kind of an interesting thing to think of, too. This, like, might be the guy that you can beat with mech right now while it's still in its infancy. Okay, a couple Marauders coming across the map. Look at that. Look at these brave Marauders.
It's 2 Marauder bros, man.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Uh-oh. The first Stalker goes down. Shield battery coming up. Now, the Adept's been drawn up here. I'm sorry, he's making 2 batteries? Yeah, 2 batteries.
Batteries
on a pylon. Well, this Reaper really helping out against that pylon. Okay, so he has to get the probes in the front to try to drive this away. Oh, good surround on the Marauder.
Yeah, that was very nice indeed. Well, you know what? 2 Marauders and an early concussive shells to kill, you know, what it was, a Stalker, and yes, 5 probes died to that. So worthwhile. So worthwhile.
Absolutely. Even forcing those structures to make and then having to abruptly cancel them is pretty handy. Now, this game, we're not going to have mech. That's not to say that, well, first of all, I mean, I think it's important that GuMiho mixes it up in a best of 5. I don't think you're just supposed to go mech every single game. So I think especially in a game 3, it's worth experimenting here, changing it up a little bit, and then trying to engage from a different strategic angle to really, you know, hurt the opponent. But again, this is more commonplace strategic turf for Stats here.
Yeah. Definitely he's going to feel much more comfortable with this, especially considering he's going right into Colossus Tech again. That's going to be much better against Bio than it would be against Mech. Against Mech, the Disruptor is quite a better source of that splash damage. But just going up with this very safe and solid build, trying to get some scouting done. He does see that researching Tech Lab and so many Marines. You can't mistake that this is a Bio build.
Stim about to finish here. As Terran's probably going to move out on the map and start to try to do something. We have the pickup here. That was scouted by the Phoenix. Again, this is all very standard here for a TVP. For the Terran to begin to roam once the 2 medevacs are out with that combination of the Stim upgrade finishing. And this is going to keep Stats probably just defended. I don't think Stats' heart rate has gone up at all.
No.
In this game, this is all just normal standard play.
I don't even know if he should let any units out of his medevac. Like, yeah, okay, this makes much more sense than going into the main base, because when Protoss is on 2 base, if you're dropping them, like, what are we doing?
Okay. Stim coming out here now. When you have specifically a clumps of Marines, You just can't get close to the Colossus. There's no way the medevacs can heal anything. Good scan, though. Hey,
Yeah,
that was pretty
nice.
good.
That was good.
I didn't really expect that little twist there, but he gets the Observer. That's still pretty good. That means that it's harder to spot where the medevacs are going to be. But yeah, you can't really get too close to the Colossus if you just have Marines there. They take too much damage. They die too quickly. The Colossus, it completely impedes your ability to do anything with the infantry, at least for now. Now, when the tanks come in, which we're having here now, and Combat Shields finishes, this is where if Terran can get set up in time, you might be able to get a position where you can start to take a fight by drawing some of that army into the siege tank fire.
Yeah, that definitely can help here. You know, it's still kind of a soft army overall, but good targeting, I think, can help a lot here for Stats. He gets his second Colossus down. He has the Thermal Lance. You can't stay here. There's no way.
Interesting pickup there with the tank as well. Looks like he wants to try to move up. Now, if he goes up to the top, I think he can have a small little group of units try to come in and hit that bottom base. And this is one burden of going for Colossi, is they can't be everywhere at once, and they're among the slower units. Even though they can go up and walk up ledges, they're still not particularly fast. And so,
well, you saw especially he remade that Observer that GuMiho had scanned and killed, and it saw the medevacs go.
yes.
Such an important thing, and that's why it's so important as well for GuMiho to scan and kill those. Because Stats just saw where he was going and intercepted it, so no damage yet.
Okay, a flank here to try to get some of those Colossi, but you can see he very easily sidesteps this maneuver. And I think, is he just going to run over this attack for now? Yeah, there's nothing he can do to defend. So immediately we have a drop over here into the main, but this is pretty subpar. I don't think this is going to do much of anything here. In fact, on some level, this might as well have just been gift wrapped here.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets the robo, but big deal. Really, I think Protoss now just marches across the map and ends the game.
Yeah, that getting the robo.
Stopping a fourth Colossus is not the play
Three
we're looking
Colossus
for.
is the actual number anyways. It's
Yeah.
like you can make a fourth if you want, but 3 is like basically critical mass where you have the amount of splash that you really wanted for Colossus. So
yeah,
that didn't seem like that important right there. In fact, the Templar Archives came up immediately, which, I mean, if he was planning on only making Colossus, and the thing is, GuMiho's making Vikings. I don't know. I didn't like that snipe. Oh, there's so many things about it that stand out as it's not like a high priority building to kill. Especially losing units to do it.
No, it's not like it was got to get in there and stop Thermal Lance from finishing, or killing a forge that would have stopped a +1 attack.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, it seems like GuMiho, growth rate-wise, is still, I guess, fine. I'm kind of surprised he might try to attack here. It looks like he's toying with that idea, but I guess when you have that number of Vikings, I don't know how many Stalkers are out exactly. Maybe you can get a good position here. It's still 3-base to 3-base.
Yeah, this Terran army, I think even if it kills all the Colossus off very quickly, I think it's still just going to lose to what Stats has. I don't see it. It's going to be 1-1 against 1-1 by the time he attacks. The charge lots are going to be able to fight against the bio, and it's not that big of a group of bio. He lost so many units in that previous attack. I think as GuMiho here, the best thing he could do is sit back and like really turtle like Maru, right? Play more like Maru, that's what you should know. But yeah, it's just, this army's too small. There's no way that this army beats the Protoss
Well,
army.
I don't think he's going to try to beat the army so much as get into a better position. So he's going to draw some attention over here. And then he's going to try to hit down here, but I think he sent this tiny army in here a little bit too quickly.
This is interesting.
We're going to have instead a kind of a rotation where now this is the focal point. He's going to try to come in here and destroy infrastructure. Now this is annoying for Protoss because Protoss loses a lot, including another Robo Bay. And when things start to get too troublesome to actually fight the Protoss army, you just pick up and run out. All right, and beautifully done.
Yeah, well, good call there. That turned out better than a frontal attack ever would have. That's for sure. Kind of an interesting position he took with the Vikings on the side, trying to catch Colossus coming up. But still, Stats, you kill some of his buildings and stuff, but I think he's fine. He's taking his 4th base. He's continuing on that upgrade trail.
It's kind of insane that the army size is slightly bigger here for GuMiho, at least in supply. Although I definitely would give Stats as having more assets in a fight. I mean, with Storm, supply starts to not really matter as much. If you get good Storms down, it's like, well, that was...
Sure. Well, Storm and Colossus together, he's going to have 2/2 upgrades as well. That gets pretty darn scary, there's no question. There are some ghosts coming out, but I don't believe he has any in his army right at this second. Yeah, I don't think
I
he
don't think he
attacked
does.
into
No,
this,
I was
though.
gonna say, yeah, I don't think he wants to. I think he could have, but then when we see how well the siege tanks got placed,
Yeah.
it's like, nah, dude.
Good spread of Vikings
Don't do
as
it.
well. You can't really stop them from dealing damage there.
So once again, GuMiho's gonna try to run in here and just snipe what he can. As you can see, it doesn't really do much of anything for now. But he's looking for openings here. I think this is smart to try to stay active on the map like that. Both of our players are expanding towards the bottom left corner. I don't think we're going to have Terran take either of the two upper center bases. Right?
Yeah. No,
I think that's a Colossus's dream, is to poke into that.
You know, GuMiho, though, the way that he's playing this, like, I feel like he should be trying to go somewhere, maybe, you know, down the
Oh my
ramp
God.
near his natural.
This blind spot is crazy, Artosis. It's
Wow.
like he just somehow perfectly. Oh, that might have telegraphed it, but hold on. These siege tanks are getting in siege mode.
Oh my God, those Psy Storms not really doing that much, to be honest.
Well, he doesn't realize where everything is positioned until just now when he saw those tanks, which he ate a lot of shots in. The Vikings have a good position on these Colossi.
Oh, trying to hit off some
dude.
EMPs there as well.
I actually think this Nexus is going to go down. I don't think the Colossi can do any damage here.
Look at how red some of these Colossi are. Oh my God, finally picks one off there. The Vikings continue to go forward. He's going to wipe this army after wiping the base. GuMiho.
The last hope for humanity. Did he just win this round? I don't think you can come back here. The rest of the army's disjointed. There's enough siege tanks. This angle is so bad right now for Protoss.
Yeah, should have cleared those rocks, I guess. Oops. Well, the Chargelots get on top of everything, and he does have some Psy Storm, so...
I don't know, man. I think this is reinforcing pretty well.
Yeah.
You know, Marauders can soak a little bit of Psy Storms and get healed up with this many medevacs. And I think we're going to see Stats get 3-0'd, man.
3-0'd after beating Maru. My God, GuMiho looking so strong here. Thank you, GuMiho, for saving the Super Tournament.
You did it. We have a reason to keep watching. Wow. Great play here. GG. I am blown away. I thought GuMiho had a shot. I never thought it was going to be 3-0, man. I thought this was going to be our longest series tonight.
I really thought coming in today that Stats would be able to take down GuMiho.
Me too.
I thought it was going to be like a 3-1 even, you know?
Yeah, sure, of course.
But this was magnificent play, a variety of strategies, really intelligent moves from GuMiho. Wow, I'm just, like, his positioning everywhere was amazing. He kept his upgrades going. Like, I don't know, he just played great. GuMiho's so good at this game. Whoa, wow.
We're going to be going to an interview momentarily here and see how GuMiho is feeling. The rest of our matches are...
8강 7 프로토스
Alright, out of
상황에서
the
최고의
7
유일한
Protosses
테란
from
고병재
the
선수가
quarterfinals, the
8강을
only
뚫고
surviving
8강에
Terran
올라갑니다.
has
바로
made it to the
만나보겠습니다.
semifinals.
축하드립니다.
Congratulations.
와, 오늘 3대0 승리까지 정말 예상
what a
못했습니다.
clean sweep
먼저
victory.
소감 어떠신가요?
Can you please tell about your victory today?
될 거라고
I
생각했는데
thought
쉽게 이겼어요.
today was going to be a difficult match. However, I won with ease, so
빌드를 두 가지나 아낄 수
I'm great.
있어서 그게 너무 좋은 것 같아요.
and despite the fact that I have to face more Protosses, I think I saved two more builds, so I feel great on that regard.
킹스코브 메카닉. 와,
No, you showcased both your bio and mech in today's games.
고병재 선수의 메카닉 지금 완성 단계에 좀 이른 건가요?
Is your mech on the level of completion?
저는 자주 쓰면 안 좋은 것 같아요.
I think if mech is frequently used, then it's a very bad strategy.
좀 메카닉이 안 된다 이런 얘기를 많이 하는데
So I used to
한 번이라도 좀 쓰기
tell
위해서
others that
의식하면은 좀안
mech is very
좋거든요.
bad
메카닉이.
in TVP.
그래서 이렇게
However, if you pull it out
어쩌다
once in a while,
쓸 수 있을 것 같아요.
then it's a very viable
소급
strategy.
벤시도 되게 좋아 보이던데 그게 소급에 투자하는
Although,
것까지 생각을 하셨을 거예요.
the
그게
Banshee
효율이
with
많이
the
좋은가요?
speed upgrade, it seems very efficient. What do you feel? What is your opinion on it?
가장 불안하더라고요. 그래서 그
No, I think when the Protoss takes the third Nexus, that's probably the most uncomfortable timing for Terrans. So I considered using Banshees and its speed upgrade to
프로토스가
harass
가는
that timing, and
상황에서
I think it worked out pretty well today.
생각하셨을 텐데요.
No, out of
현재 이
all these
프로토스를
Protosses
상대하기에
remaining, all you
어떠신가요?
care about is TVP. How do you feel about your current TVP?
그렇게 막 좋다고 생각은 안
I don't think
드는데
it's really that
그래도
great for Terran.
확실히 포지 너프도 있고 해서
However, due to the
같기는 해요.
upgrade nerfs
근데 고병재 선수만
for the
남아있잖아요.
infantry,
네,
I think
근데
it's still
제가 생각했을 때
viable.
토스
but you're the only ones
하려면
who
일단
survived.
빌드 싸움에서
Thing in
지면 안
order
되는
to
것 같아요.
win
빌드가 좀안
in
좋게
PvP, you have to win in the
좀
build order
역전하기가
fights
힘들다 그래야 되나? 그런
because
경우가 되게
it's
많아요.
really
역전은
difficult
쉽게
to
당하는데
make a
역전하기는
comeback
되게
once
힘든
you're
그런 경우가
behind,
많아서
especially against
빌드
Protosses.
싸움에서 지면 안 되는
So it is
네, 현재
imperative for you to
최후의 테란이기에
win
정말
in the
많은
build
테란
order
유저분들의
fights.
희망이 되고 있는데요.
And
지난
you're being
시즌
a
1
hope
16강
of the
탈락의
Terran at
아쉬움도
this
날려버릴 수 있는
super
것
tournament.
같습니다. 자,
You
앞으로의
can
시간 각오
dispose of
전해주시기
the
바랄게요.
regret
남은 프로토스 중에서
being
김대엽
knocked out
선수가
early
제일
in season
상당히
1.
힘든 선수라고 생각했는데
Can you tell us your expectations moving forward?
우승할 수 있도록
I think I have a great chance and I'll work hard as
네,
much as
지금까지
possible since I
고병재
took out
선수
stats, one of the
만나봤습니다.
contenders for this super tournament.
네,
Thank you.
가장 먼저 4강에 진출하는 고병재
Sick.
선수
I'm
만나봤고요.
so happy he
Yeah.
survives.
토너먼트
Yeah, I like how he
이벤트.
says Mech is pretty bad against pros, but like can be pulled out once in a while. Whereas Maru's like, oh, I did 3 macro games in a row against stats with Mech. I don't know. Time will tell how much more Mech we end up seeing, but it's making it interesting.
It's been 8 years of StarCraft 2. We've had mech come in and out of play, in and out of popularity, and different styles of that as well. By the way, hang on to your tickets. If you're down here in the studio, we have a giveaway at the end of the show. Well, that does it for Terran games. Now it's going to be 3 PvP
God.
best of 5s. Good.
That was almost too long a series for me. I just want Protoss.
Down here at the studio tomorrow, we are giving away Mountain Dew and burgers.
All you have to do is come down and watch.
Yes,
GuMiho is going to be playing. I know you want to.
that's right. So free food, free drinks.
Yeah. It's always fun. And it's the Super Tournament Final, so you're going to have great games, no doubt.
We're going to go to a short break. We come back. Our next best of 5 here in the GSL Super Tournament.